Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. Today we want to take a look at a live Clan War League attack, and we want to plan it together, and then after that we're going to do the attack live. It's pretty important because well, it's kind of close war, so if we triple, then we could tie the triples because we have then both 4 triples and we have both won once or so far, so it would be a huge advantage at least tying, and then we have a couple of really good attackers. So let's take a look at the base, because this is going to be the base I'm going to attack, and this is a base which looks kind of like an old meta. With saying this, what do I actually mean? This was a setup of having the town hall on one side and the inferno towers all on the other side, and in the core you normally had the eagle and the queen. This was like really well known for quite some time. I think it's already a while back, and since a lot of clans still copy bases, this is why you can still see a couple of those bases. But if you have to face one of those, I will today talk you through how you can triple those bases pretty easily, because there are a couple of pretty normal things you have to look out for on how to triple those bases, and this is why they disappear more and more, and you see more of those creative styles of bases. So what you normally try to do on those bases is to actually get into the inferno tower flanking the town hall, which means those 2 inferno towers, not this inferno tower, not the last one, because if you're charging it over there, which can work, it's base dependent, but normally if you do charge over there, the town is a bit too risky for the Clan War League format. So normally what you try to do is queen charge into one of the flanking inferno towers and then jump behind the town hall to get not only the town hall but as well the eagle, because the core of bases like this are so stacked that this is a really good way to do it. The next 2 ways is to queen walk around the town hall and then jump into the base. This is pretty strong because you can just immediately drop onto the town hall troops, like for example Hog Riders, miners, even Lalo. You just have to activate the town hall, which is pretty easy. Just send 1 miner on the town hall, because you worked around your the town hall with your queen walk. It's pretty easy to activate. And those are the 4 most successful ways on how to triple bases like this. And this is the reason why they disappeared more and more, because if you approach a base with those 4 entries, or like with one of those 4 entries, then it's typically really good. The thing, for example, for this queen walk is that the final is not that easy, and the queen could get distracted with the wizard tower. This queen walk as well is not too nice of a value, because it's really hard to actually, like, it would be nicer to dodge the one. So those 2 entries are out of the way. Let's check out the other 2 entries which are still viable, and we will choose one of those 2. We have those 2 entries. The first one from the left side is looking really good because the CC is coming out really late, which means it should be pretty good to go in over there. The other option is really good as well. You can pretty easily funnel at the bottom with your king and then walk to the right side and jump your queen in. You will get the eagle because of the poor positioning of the eagle, and you do not have too much damage on your queen, and you get the enemy queen as well, which means you can do Hog Riders. But we want to take a look at the left entry because, well, the right one is really strong, but if I'm completely honest, I just came up with that during the recording because I didn't really watch all of the entries. I was like, okay, this entry looks really good, the left one, which means I didn't really watch any of the other entries, and this is the reason why I prepared the left one. On this one you have a couple of options. The first option is to do an entry with frozen wall breakers. The next entry is to just do a ram entry, which means just place your siege machine in front of the inferno tower, get through the first wall, and then jump behind the town hall. What are the differences, and why should I do which entry? I want to do a Hog Rider entry, which means I'm going to use a ram because there are nearly no spring trap locations in the back end of the space, which means Hog Rider should be really powerful. And this means we're going for the ram entry. The Nice thing about the other entry, we do not need a slammer or like a siege machine or whatever to get inside the base. We just need the jump spell, and you can see all of the heavy damage for the left entry with all of the expos and the warden, which is a little bit critical. You can see the ranges as well. The right entry would not be covered for most of the expos, why this entry actually looks really good. And if I'm completely honest, if I wouldn't have prepared already the other entry, we would probably go the right way, like Queen walking in front of the town hall and then jumping into the Inferno Tower compartment. Maybe the only reason why we shouldn't do that is the funnel for the Queen on the right side, because on the right side you can see the air defense and the elixir storage, etc., which is not too easy to get funneled. Like you need a P.E.K.K.A. or something like that, or even heavier, and that would be a little bit annoying. So I think that might be the only downside of this plan. But like I said, if I would be like now looking at the base without having anything prepared, this might be the way to go. But we want to go for the left side, and we are using the ram because it's just like making sure that we don't need freezes for the wall breakers, and this is why we can just use the ram for pretty much only one wall. And this is going to be the army. We have a lot of spells for a queen charge, over 3 rages and 2 heal spells, which should be kind of easy. We're placing the king on the left barracks, at 6 o'clock the baby dragon, and then just get the queen in and hope for her staying inside and do her thing, basically. Like, you guys know the queen. Okay, so let's try and do it. Starting off with the Kokoloon and the baby dragon, then immediately the king, and now the queen to funnel pretty much the king in the right direction. Now the siege is coming, opening up the wall, but there is a Tesla at 6 o'clock. I need to place my healers, and I somehow need to panic because I need to get rid of the stupid Tesla. I'm reacting way too slow because there should have been already, like, the hot rats should have already deployed, but luckily my queen is going inside and everything is looking really good for me so far. Enemy CC is coming out, but there's only an ice golem and a couple of archers, which means I need a rage anyway, but there's nothing inside which actually causes me to drop the poison. Which means if there's still a baby dragon in there, if there's still a witch in there, anything like that, and I actually need a poison, I have to save it, because right now the rage is doing, like, the rage is pretty fine, doing everything I need, keeping my queen alive, etc. So I don't really need to waste the poison, and I can use the poison for the enemy queen already as well. The next thing is I'm trying to place the poison, because now the witch is coming out. I try to place the poison that it's not only covering the enemy witch, but as well the enemy queen if she's engaging on my queen, which she now is doing, and this means this poison is perfectly placed. Okay, at this point I have to say, like, this attack so far is looking really good. So the next thing is the rage. Actually, I don't think that I had to place it, but because I was recording this and I did not have a spotter or anything else, it means I sometimes get really easily distracted, which means I want to keep my eyes on the Hog Riders. I do not want to have to look out for my queen all the time, and this is the only reason why I dropped the rage. I think without the rage I would have been totally fine as well. I could have saved it, but so far so good. Now we dropped a couple of Hog Riders from the 12 o'clock side as well, just to keep my Hog Riders inside, using the Warden ability to protect the healer, even though it was too late, but still, there are a couple of healers still going, and we have the heal spell left for the last remaining bomb tower, covering everything, and this should be fine if I can get rid of this last builder hut. Placing 2 minions, so I have 1 minion left for the builder hut. The only thing I have to pray for now, please make it that there's no red mine. So let's see. Please. Well, that was kind of obvious. I think I should have saved at least 1 more minion for that. But so I think in the last 15 seconds or so, my Hog Riders, like my 30 Hog Riders, should be able to get rid of the last builder hut. And yeah, this means we got our nice triple, which means we tied the opponent on triples. So let's check out and rewatch the attack and take a look at what went good and what should I have done different. So the next thing is, like I said, we started off with the baby dragon, we start off with the queen and king, funneling everything, like they're funneling each other. Now the Kokoloon healer could have already deployed, like the healer were way too late, even though I didn't need to use a rage due to that, but still it was delayed. And now there should have already been the Hog Riders. The Hog Riders were way too late. Luckily my queen is going inside. If the queen would have went around that, the attack I think might be already ripped. So this was a huge mistake by me. I should have placed the Hog Riders way earlier, because I had so many Hog Riders. Like the Hog part was perfect anyway. Like there were no Springtrap locations. I had 31 Hog Riders. Even if I would have had to if I had to place like 5 Hog Riders, it doesn't matter. Like we have so many Hog Riders overall. That was basically the only thing which could have went wrong, and we nearly screwed it up. So the poison, like I said, was in my opinion perfect. I think the rage was pretty wasted, if I have to admit that. Like the poison was perfect, the rage was wasted, because there's no need for the rage right now. Even the enemy queen in the poison is no opponent for my own queen, because there's the poison and there's no point defenses on my queen. The next rage, once again, maybe that's a bit more needed, but still not really perfect. And especially the second rage was completely wasted. The only thing which was nice about that was that it saved time. And now I saved a couple of Hog Riders to keep my Hog Riders actually inside, because otherwise they would have passed to the outside to the mortar. This is why I saved 3 Hog Riders. Everything is looking perfect. In a second I will use my Warden ability, try to save 1 healer because of the Black Mine, but I did use the Warden ability a little bit too late, and this means the healer will die nonetheless. But still, we managed to get the triple done. Really nicely done, I think, even though, well, it was number 11, but I think except a couple of walls, the base was maxed. So yeah, nice getting the triple on this one, even though the Beetle Hut in the end tried to defend for the opponent, but we managed to get the triple on this one. And well, so far it looked really good. Let's check out once again the war result, like how it's standing right now. Freaking red bomb, like all the time those guys who are placing cleanup or again their red bombs against cleanup minions. That's annoying. Okay, so let's check it out. Wait, we have 5. Oh, boom attack as well. So I think we should check out his attack as well. I guess you all want to know or want to see his attack. Kokoloon, Warbreaker, Queen Charge Lalo overall. Nicely done. This was an idea of mine, like watching the base the first time, walking into the multi-inferno compartment, but I think Boom knows what he's doing, even though he had a Warbreaker fail for the second layer. Okay, that's interesting. Another Rage. Ooh, this isn't looking too good, but oh, guys, see on the right side you saw the king taking out the enemy town hall by its own. That's crazy. Okay, so far it's looking good, but now, like, just keep in mind, this is Queen Charge Lalo, and that's the big difference between Queen Charge Lalo and, for example, Queen Charge Hog Riders. With this being still up, Queen Charge Hog Riders would never ever make it. But with this up and having Queen Charge Lalo, like Boom is showing you in a second, it can still triple. This is the big difference between Lalo and anything else. Like Lalo is so much more skill dependent. It has so much more potential, if that makes sense. And it's just like crazy good. So really nice Lalo, really crazy good Lalo. Couple of traps on the back end, tornado trap, but still this is going to be a crazy triple. Nicely done by Boom. And this means we are 1 triple up against Paras Group. Ooh, this is going to be a crazy finish. We have way more attacks left, which means we could win it higher or screw it up somehow with getting another 1-star. But so far it's looking good. So I see you guys in the next video. Until then, bye bye.